One Piece is on break this week, so we're talking about the 5 most devastating devil fruits in the story. Now, of course, this is just my opinion. The scale I'm using to judge this is how much a devil fruit makes me go, damn, that was devastating. So it's really not that deep, but I will be going through and breaking down the powers of these 5 devil fruits, why I think they're the most devastating, and make sure you stick around for the last one because I think it's one of the most underrated devil fruits in the story. But first, I want to shout out the King Pirates crew because we just hit 40,000 members. If you're not yet part of the crew, go subscribe below and help us get to 50k. But let's get started with the first fruit, and that is the Gura Gura no Mi. This fruit is so valuable, it's already had 2 owners within the story, and honestly, this has to be not only one of the most devastating and unique devil fruits, but overall, it's just dope. When this man Whitebeard pulled up to Marineford and just shattered the air, my mind was blown. The powers of this devil fruit are quite insane if you really think about it. It's essentially a natural disaster bundled into a Paramecia devil fruit. That's gonna be a pretty common theme you notice going forward. But with the Gura Gura no Mi, it gives the user the ability to create earthquakes and shockwaves, and it can do it to anything. Destroy the ground, the air, the ocean, it does not matter. So this devil fruit is very devastating in multiple ways. You could cause earthquakes and tsunamis. Even Son Goku was gassing it up, saying it could destroy islands, which honestly he's not wrong. If you just spam this power, you could probably just devastate an island. It pretty much makes you a walking buster call. Just imagine the Marines get their hands on this power and a buster call gets called, and Son Goku's just like, you want us to send the 5 battleships or just Whitebeard? What's also interesting about this power is how it's applied, because to utilize the power, a quake bubble is formed around the fist, and it could also be applied to weapons. So Whitebeard, for example, applied it to his fists and also his Naginata, and this essentially just lets you fight with earthquake level power with every attack, which Whitebeard did showcase multiple times against some poor souls. Now I'm just thinking back to that clash Whitebeard had with Roger, and although that clash was incredible, it was probably not even Whitebeard's peak. Can you imagine while that clash is going down with Whitebeard already using crazy hockey, he just forms a quake bubble and just blasts Roger out of the way? Prime Whitebeard was built different. Another thing you could do with this power is also kind of like manipulate the space. At one point it looked like Whitebeard was just dragging across the space like it was a curtain, and that attack ended up shifting pretty much all of Marineford. And what makes this fruit even scarier is that it might have not been even awakened. When we saw Whitebeard use the fruit, he was already pretty old and sick, and he wasn't even using hockey anymore. And when Blackbeard got the fruit, he just got the fruit, so there was no way he knew how to awaken it. So I can't even imagine how devastating this power could be if awakened to another level, because it's already destroying the environment. I don't know what else you could do, maybe like shatter everything from within, but I definitely do think there's probably another level to that devil fruit, and Blackbeard probably knows it by now after he's had the fruit for 2 years. We've only seen the beginning of what's possible. But next, let's move on to another devil fruit that kind of went head to head with Whitebeard, and that is Akainu's Magu Magu no Mi. This is another devil fruit that is just pure destruction and pretty much just a natural disaster. Akainu is essentially a walking volcano. He's like that volcano boy from JJK to another level. The devil fruit itself is a Logia, which means Akainu is also just made of lava, making him pretty much resistant to most things. Can you imagine if he actually wasn't heat resistant? Like he's frying up an egg, some oil pops up, and he's like, ah! But yeah, this devil fruit is incredible. Akainu's made up of one of the most dangerous substances in the world, and we've seen it go head to head against some of the other strongest Logias. Ace's fire fruit wasn't hot enough, so that didn't go too well for him. Aokiji's ice, although it held up for 10 days, still couldn't beat him. Honestly, I'm not sure any other Logias are gonna surpass this one. At least in terms of firepower, no pun intended, Akainu might have the strongest Logia, and he's pretty much just got an unlimited supply of lava, which kinda allows him to just burn the whole world down if he wanted to. He did pretty much do that to half of Punk Hazard, which honestly Punk Hazard might be a result of Devil Fruit Awakening, where Akainu could kinda make the environment into lava as well. This man could literally turn the floor into lava. But on top of that, this fruit also has some of the most beautiful attacks I've ever seen. Ace might have been known as Fire Fist Ace, but Akainu's Fire Fists were way better. The one attack he used in Marineford where he just launched a bunch of fire fists from the sky, that looked pretty cool in the anime, but the panel in the manga was just gorgeous. Also, it seems like Akainu is an artist at heart because he created an attack with a lava dog, and now all I want to see is Akainu make a lava breathing dragon. But yeah, the ability to use lava as a variety of projectile attacks just makes this devil fruit even more devastating, and I cannot think of a better pair than Akainu for this devil fruit. There's a reason that Oda said if Akainu wanted to become the Pirate King, he could do it in a year. But on to the next one. It might be a bit of a surprise pick, but I think it's a little underrated, and that is Enel's Goro Goro no Mi. Again, it's essentially a natural disaster with Enel being a walking lightning bolt, and I do think a lot of people are sleeping on this power a little bit. In Greek mythology, Zeus was like the top dog because he could throw lightning bolts, and Enel's pretty much just made of it. Honestly, I could see why he thought he was a god. And it's also a pretty well-known fruit because when Robin saw the fruit, she knew it was one of the most devastating devil fruits in the story. And although I don't don't think it's as devastating as Akainu's fruit, I do think it's more flexible. Because not only does it give you insane attack power, it also gives you incredible speed. I would say it's probably one of the fastest devil fruits behind only Kizaru's light fruit. The different ways you can use this devil fruit also makes it very unique. If you're in a close combat fight, that's absolutely fine. You're incredibly fast and you have high voltage with every attack. With Enel, it seemed like the maximum voltage for him was 200 million, which he used to power the Arc Maxim, which honestly is lower than I expected because the average lightning bolt is about 300 million. So Enel's actually batting below average and I'm a little disappointed, especially when even in real life people have survived getting struck by lightning. So I don't know, maybe I'm overrating this one a little bit. But yeah, even with Enel being below average, she still showed the incredible ways you can use this devil fruit. El Thor was his iconic attack where he just blasted people with this huge lightning bolt. He was also pretty creative with his attacks as he created a Thunderbird attack. But what's really impressive is the scale of some of his attacks, because he could pretty much just button mash the B button and just spam this thing. If the Straw Hats weren't around, he would have destroyed Skypiea, and he did destroy his hometown. So I still believe this is one of the most devastating devil fruits, and honestly, if Luffy wasn't the perfect counter to it, he probably would have died. But next, let's get to our only zone devil fruit on the list, which is Kaido's mythical devil fruit. Now currently in the manga, we're witnessing firsthand just how strong this devil fruit is, but even with what we've seen in the anime, it's just a friendly reminder how incredible mythical zone devil fruits are. Because I feel like with regular zone devil fruits, they're kind of mid. They're definitely a floor raiser, which once you eat it, you definitely get stronger, faster, and more durable, but the ceiling is a little limited to how strong you actually are. But with mythical zones, it opens up the door to so many more powers, and Kaido's the perfect example. He's this big ass dragon that can fly and create flame clouds. He definitely becomes more durable with his dragon scales, and he's got an array of attacks that he can use. So far in the anime, the only one he's really showcased is the Burrow Blast, which still was a pretty incredible attack even though it missed. But in the manga right now, he showed off many more attacks, and again, he's pretty much a walking natural disaster. Offensively, I think Kaido's probably got the strongest zone devil fruit, and honestly, even defensively, besides Marco's devil fruit, I would say Kaido's probably the strongest zone as well. And I still think there's a lot more to see with this devil fruit, especially with hybrid form. But yeah, this devil fruit is definitely one of the most devastating, one of the dopest designs, and it makes me really excited to see more mythical zone devil fruits. And now before we talk about the last fruit, which I think is one of the most underrated, let's talk about some honorable mentions, which I'm sure you guys are talking about in the comments. First off, Aokiji's Ice fruit is very incredible. He went head to head with Akainu for 10 days. That in itself makes it very impressive, and also he could just freeze up the ocean. I also really like Kizaru's light fruit. In terms of attack power, although it's impressive and he can make big explosions, but the amount of light he could just generate and just spam all at once is pretty incredible. While we're on the topic of admirals, Fujitora's gravity fruit is also pretty insane. The simple ability to apply gravity to people is not that crazy, but you gotta remember this man brought down meteors. Another underrated fruit in my opinion is Sengoku's fruit. We haven't seen it much in the story, but this man was dealing it during Marineford when he used it. The entire Blackbeard Pirates crew, he just palmed them with one attack. So I think when Sengoku was in his prime, that fruit was definitely very devastating. Blackbeard's Yami Yami no Mi is also very impressive, but I don't really see it as like a devastating fruit. It's definitely very powerful, but it's not the first fruit I think of when I think about devastating. And then finally, there's Big Mom's Soul fruits, which I actually think is kind of overrated. It is very unique and strong, letting you just pull souls out of people's bodies. But I feel like with that fruit, it doesn't add that much to Big Mom's powers. It's more so Big Mom being devastating, and the fruit is just pretty good. But now let's talk about the devil fruit that I think is incredibly underrated, and that is Magellan's Doku Doku no Mi. Now for those of you that made it to some of my previous live streams, you probably know that I'm low-key a Magellan fanboy, but I feel like Magellan is kind of overlooked because he didn't get a ton of screen time. He's not a major character like an Admiral or a Yonko, but during Impel Down, he was incredibly impressive, and honestly, he could have killed Luffy. And Luffy wasn't the only person he bodied. He also bodied all of the Blackbeard pirates. Think about how crazy that is. The two people that we think have the best chance of becoming Pirate King, Magellan bodied both of them in just one arc. But as far as the devil fruit goes, it's also a Logia, and Magellan is essentially just made of poison. Now you might be thinking that this one is not comparable to the other ones because the other ones so far have been like weather-related natural disasters, but low-key, Magellan could start a pandemic. But on a real note, let's talk about the crazy attacks he showcased during Impel Down as well. His signature move was the Hydra, which he used to wipe out the Blackbeard pirates and also a bunch of prisoners, and really the only downside are the antidotes against his poison, but you have to come prepared. Also, a lot of people like to point out that Magellan doo-doos like every 30 minutes, but that's not the devil fruit's fault, that's Magellan's own fault. Magellan only doo-doos every 30 minutes because he can't stop himself from eating poison. If the man could just control his cravings, get on a good diet, maybe try keto, he'll be much more efficient. So in my opinion, this fruit is incredibly underrated and definitely one of the most devastating. Also, if you want to get some One Piece manga, check out the link link in the description. Rock, paper, scissors. If I win, you have to like, subscribe, and watch this video. Rock, paper, scissors, shoot. Rock never fails, I'm not changing.